you learn of hospices in your building that are accused of fraud,
I would immediately
you would get rid of them?
terminate.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a history of doing that? Do you have any examples of people that you turned away because you thought that they were fraud? I doubt it.
But that hasn't happened yet.
No.
See, it hasn't because you're lying. We have more hospice fraud out here in LA. Let's get into it. Please like and subscribe.
This was what we refer to as ground zero. That building is considered ground zero because it just was so blatant.
Hospice patient advocate Sheila Clark has been raising an alarm on this one building in LA for years. This building, our investigation found, is home to
Ooh, an 818? Sheesh, you're in the valley?
89 registered hospice companies. It's called the Merabi Professional Medical Plaza, and it's the most extreme case of hospice clustering that we found.
And this
That building looks dilapidated. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I've worked for a hospice before, but it was legit. I didn't know that it was gonna be fraud all over the place.
particular building, I noticed, I'm like, dang, how can there be that many licensed and certified hospices in this tiny little building?
We went to the Van Nuys address to find out what's going on. We're going to try to go in and see what we can find. Here's the director.
We got agency, law office, real estate, auto sales, construction, hospice.
Hospice, home health agency, hospice.
Yep, palliative care.
Just looking at this directory, you can see dozens of hospice agencies coming up. The state and federal records for hospice agencies tell you a lot. State auditors have identified warning signs when they're looking for fraud, like multiple hospice offices packed into one building, or caretakers whose patients who are supposedly at death's door are discharged alive. According to our analysis, 72 of the 89 registered hospices in Merabi Plaza have at least 3 of those potential warning signs.
Terrible. So pretty much what happens is a hospice company somehow obtains your medical information and they start billing the government for all of these things, for bedding, for supplies, for medications, so on and so forth. And pretty much it's a fraud. You've never been there before. They just got your information and now you're getting billed.
This isn't possible. It made no sense because I know what a licensed and certified hospice looks.
I'm not gonna lie, I do see a lot of buildings like this out here in the valley. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were fraud everywhere. And I had a friend of mine who lived in Burbank and she told me a lot of people out there, they commit fraud. It was a different type of fraud. It was insurance fraud by faking car accidents. And I believe there's tons of different types of fraud out here.
Looks like.
We weren't the first ones to come to this building. Federal inspection records show that regulators visited multiple suites in Merabi Plaza between 2021 and 2025, and they found nearly 400 violations. At one, a nurse wrote that a patient's family was satisfied with the care, but inspectors found no one from the hospice ever even visited that patient. At another, the patient's chart listed medications for malaria and diabetes, but the patient told inspectors he wasn't taking either one. And at that same company, a hospice social worker wrote about a family's grief when their loved one had passed, but there is no evidence the patient was actually dead. These hospices have been billing Medicare for reimbursement with your tax dollars for years.
Yeah. All they need is your information and boom, billed. They can make millions of dollars just billing people.
Why are we still seeing such, rampant signs of this? Why hasn't more been done?
Because people are fraudsters, people are scammers, and they're scammers as a group. So whenever your homie out there scamming and you broke, you gonna scam like your homie, okay? That's how it goes.
We're committed to tackling the issue until we root it out and extinguish all fraud.
So who's working to fix this? Well, the state attorney general is the one responsible for investigating the industry here in California.
California is always going to have the biggest numbers. We're the biggest state. We're the 4th largest economy in the world. We have the most people of any state.
That's not why. The reason why California is the biggest is because we have a government that's unchecked. Our democratic government does not go after fraud in any way. You know why? Because our government is frauding too. The government steals from the taxpayer. So why would they stop fraud over there when they're doing the fraud? Come on now.
And but this issue is unacceptable.
Case in point, what's going on with homelessness? Why haven't they fixed homelessness? Why has the bill for trying to tackle homelessness going up? What's happening with this train? I thought it was supposed to have a train from here to San Francisco. What happened to that? Fraud, okay? Fraud.
Acceptable, and we need to keep tackling it and do more.
We're also following the money here. Medicare is federally administered. It's your federal tax dollars going to these hospices. So we sat down with Dr. Mehmet Oz, who heads the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Is this accelerating the enforcement, the shutting down of these hospices?
We have dramatically accelerated our ability to take out the bad guys by stopping their payments. And that's the big mindset shift. I want to make it clear, we're not going to pay you money just because you sent me a piece of paper with a bill on it. We're going to check to make sure that's legitimate and that document is evidence that you actually performed something that's helpful to the American people, or you're not getting money from us.
When we went back to Morabi Plaza,
I mean, that sounds good, but I don't know how they're going to enforce that for everybody. I really don't. It's going to be tough.
found the building's owner, Kambiz Morabi.
I have vacancies. Tenant would come in as long as they're legit. They have valid things that we need. I rent. I'm not a police or keeper.
So, hey, look, if you're doing fraud, I don't care. If you're legitimate, I don't care. Look, just give me the money and we good to go. That's what he's talking about.
What they do, how they do business.
So from your perspective, they're licensed. You know, that's obviously the first sort of barometer of, you know, measuring whether it's a
Correct.
legit business or not.
Absolutely. And look, maybe state and the federal government, it's becoming restrict on many businesses, and I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, you and I are paying for all those things that are not right.
Morabi wouldn't let us walk the halls on our own to
I don't believe him, bro. You sound like he lying.
talk with hospice employees, but told us this about any possible fraud. If you learn of hospices in your building that are accused of fraud,
I would immediately
you would get rid of them.
terminate.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a history of doing that? Do you have any examples of people that you turned away because you thought that they were fraud? I doubt it.
But that hasn't happened yet.
No,
See, it hasn't, because you're lying,
I have.
allegedly.
No one has ever come to me tell me that okay, this or that.
Oh, so you want them to go to you and let you know that they're fraud, and that's the only way that you'll turn them away. Okay, cool.
Is doing fraud.
See, full of shit. You know, I think that the hospice in LA is really just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's so many different ways that fraud is actually happening out here, and I can't wait to see how it's going to be uncovered. But if you know of any fraud in your city or your state, you know, drop the comment, please. It really helps out the channel a lot. And, you know, as more information comes out, we'll cover it again. So thank y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.